All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Boom, and welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Double T British Kennels. I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world-famous Andy Shaver.
It's been a tough weekend, Jeff. Tough weekend. I'm in 4 different fantasy football leagues. I don't think I'm going to win a single game in any of those. My two teams, my beloved Raiders, my beloved Packers.
Beloved Raiders.
I'm a big Raiders guy.
When did you
Jeff.
become a Raiders fan?
About 6 weeks ago.
Okay, beloved.
They're beloved, Jeff.
So that's your AFC team now, is the Raiders.
Them or the Chargers or the Bills.
Okay.
It's hard not to root for the Bills. Bills are a fun team.
They're a very fun team.
They've never reached that pinnacle. And I'm going to say this because everybody gives the Packers a bunch of shit for going from Brett to Rodgers and only winning 1 Super Bowl. The Chargers have had Brees, Rivers, and now Herbert.
Well, Herbert's 23 years old.
0 to show for it.
Well,
do you think that Herbert will ever get over the hump? You got Josh Allen in that conference.
Yes.
You got Mahomes in that conference. And you've got my beloved Raiders in that conference.
This year.
Wow.
I've picked them, San Diego, or the Charger, who the fuck they are. I've picked them from day one. That's my team to go Super Bowl, San Diego.
I don't think they get past the Bills.
Well, that's a good pick also. I don't have no problem with you picking the Bills. Von Miller was a really good addition for them. And you could tell the difference between him being on LA side of the ball and him being on for the Bills now.
But I really like the Raiders. The Raiders are fun.
They're going to be a very
Devontae.
good football team.
I just like that whole conference, that division. It's must-see TV anytime they play.
Football, we as fans are expecting to watch October 15th football the first weekend in September. And it's never there. Never. Nobody plays in the preseason anymore.
Right.
Nobody. That's why there's teams that are – I mean, if you watch the Pittsburgh-Cincinnati game this weekend, it was nothing but fuck-ups the whole last quarter.
Tough to watch.
Yeah, it was. And it was because of they're just not used to playing.
Right.
You know, you got a kicker like McPherson kid. He never misses, you know. And you can say what you want about the Pittsburgh Steelers, but Mike Tomlin always has a competitive football team.
Mm-hmm.
Even with Mitch Trubisky or Ben Roethlisberger. And I will say this, I thought they looked better with Mitch Trubisky than they did with Roethlisberger the last 2 years. But Najee Harris is hurt.
Yeah, they think he's got a Liz Frank injury.
So he's going to basically miss the season maybe.
Possibly, yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, it wouldn't be good. It definitely wouldn't be very
that's
good.
a huge loss for them.
Yeah.
Who's their backup back?
I don't know if they have one.
I mean, they got to have one, but they don't have one to step in like they've had before.
Mm-mm. No.
Le'Veon Bell's still out there.
He knocked the fuck out of Adrian Peterson.
I saw the deal afterwards. I did not watch the tape.
They said they only sold. You hadn't seen the video?
I saw the video. I didn't watch. I did not watch the fight.
They said that only sold 200 tickets, and they gave away 1,000.
200.
200
Where
tickets.
was it at?
I have no idea.
You know why?
Now let me look this up because it was on Twitter, and you know how that is. But
was
there
it
was
on
a
pay-per-view?
I'm assuming it was on some sort of pay-per-view something.
Why would you pay money to go watch 2 ex-football players fight?
I'm with you.
I mean, there's no draw there at all, especially once football season starts.
Right.
Do that shit in July. Do that July 20th before training camp really gets going when there's nothing else to compete against except fucking baseball.
Yeah, because nobody's watching baseball.
No. I'm telling you right now, I looked at standings the other day just because I was curious, and you could have not played a baseball game, and I said, yep, that's who's going to be winning. I'd like to see Judge hit more than home runs and Maris just because I think it would be interesting. I'm really pulling for Albert Pujols to hit 700 home runs. I think that would be a good story for his career. But I really don't give a crap about baseball. The leading guy in stolen bases is 30 stolen bases.
That's not very many.
No, Ricky Henderson, Vince Coleman, them guys used to steal 100 bases a year. And they've taken that out of the game, I guess. Nobody steals bases anymore.
I can't find anything that verifies it, but it's just on Twitter. Totalprosports.com reports only 200 tickets sold. The arena holds 22,000. So
That's
I would
embarrassing.
say it's a flop.
So when they were booing them when the fight was over, everybody got to hear. They heard that every bit of it.
Video has surfaced of the venue, and it revealed that only 200 tickets have been sold to watch the event in person.
You know,
Barstool reported it. So
it's probably pretty stout then. They're probably right.
But my goodness, Peterson got the fuck knocked out of him. Now he knows how his kid felt.
Do you think that we're going to change it from football just a minute? We're talking about the Queen.
Mm-hmm.
The old lady died. I'm not going to be disrespectful to the lady because I'm a history guy and I like the history that goes. But
The pomp and circumstance.
yeah, I think she was an evil bitch.
Really?
Yes, I do. I think she
been watching The Crown too much, or what?
No, I actually like that. It's the only part about me that likes her. I would have said that use the C word probably if it wouldn't have been for me watching The Crown. And not The Crown is not the word I was going to use. She, first of all, she's the most reckless leader the world's ever had because she lost more shit than anyone ever did under her watch.
Right.
Now, most of it was not her fault, but I think she was really deep in the Epstein stuff. Not her personally. I think her husband was a real piece of shit, and I think one of her sons is a real piece of shit. And
Andrew? Is that Andrew you're talking about?
And then after watching Prince Charles ask him to clean the desk away,
yeah,
he's a worthless fuck. Same as me.
Twat.
Yeah. Have you seen his fingers?
No.
A picture of his fingers are all swelled up and shit.
Why?
Who knows? Maybe eating raw swine all the time. Who knows?
Probably because his uncle is his cousin as his.
I think that, some interbreeding there probably has a problem. You know, she was married. The Queen was married to Prince. Can't even think of his damn name. What was the
Philip?
Guy? Prince Philip, and Philip was German, if I'm right. If I believe that's right. I think he was a German royal family. I don't know how all that all connects and shit. If you're English and you're listening to me, I don't get all y'all's fucking deal of putting somebody up on a pedestal like y'all have with the king and queen. They've robbed from the country from years. There is no way in the hell in today's woke society that they should be doing any kind of.
Well, everybody's calling for reparations. Is that the word? Everybody is.
Reparations.
CNN. Well, fuck them. But
they're one of the evil. They're one of the evil family. The royal family.
Well, I mean, they said that they basically raped and pillaged to get where they are, which there's probably a little bit of truth to that because I think any superpower has done that to a certain extent.
They were the rulers of the world.
Right.
A family.
Yep.
Not a country.
Yep.
A family was the rulers of the world in the 1600s.
Probably goes back further than that.
Forever. It's always been from the Mongolian Empire, Genghis Khan. There's always been the Roman Empire, the Ottoman Empire. There's always been an aristocracy or a group of people or leaders that controlled everything. And I think that's what our modern day people are trying to do now is get to one world order to try to be the same way. Instead of fighting the 10 people that are fighting, trying to lead it, they want one. They're going to try to get together and control us all. But those people right there, the history behind them from before 1900 was pretty brutal the way they did people.
Prince Philip and Queen Elizabeth were third cousins.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So this is according to Districtify. It is a known fact that the royal family, I'll put them up here if you're watching on YouTube, you can look at it also. From a scientific perspective, there is a coefficient of separation or a coefficient of inbreeding that determines whether or not two mates have a higher chance of producing offspring with serious deficiencies. The higher the COI, which I do not know what that means, the worse chance there is that a baby will be born with defects.
Coefficient of inbreeding is COI.
Where does it say that at?
I just know that.
You just put everything together?
No, well, actually it says
okay,
that there,
anything more than 5% is bad. So a COI that's between 5 and 10% is considered potentially dangerous. Dogs mating a first cousin produces a COI of 6.25%. In many societies, this would be considered incest and is forbidden. Mating half siblings produce COI of 12.5%. Matings full siblings 25%. And I was hoping it was going to tell me what the royal family COI is, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Anyway, They were third cousins.
So
Give me a COI here.
So you're telling me the difference between Arkansas and the royal family is not a whole lot?
Not much.
Okay.
But
good.
they
I
did
understand.
that because they wanted to keep the bloodline pure, right?
That's what they said. I think it's because way back, somebody wanted to bang their hot cousin, and that's figured that, or stepsister or some shit, or half sister, and they thought, that's pretty cool.
What a letdown of a fucking source that was. I'll tell you.
Well, here's the thing. England has been getting their ass kicked since 1770, 71, 72, 73, whenever we started whipping on their ass. And it's continued. They've been losers forever. And now is another huge loss for them because have you seen the new queen? A horse face?
No.
Oh, oof. I'm telling you right now, that woman, But you want to get down to Princess Di. They lost. Princess Di could be our queen we could all at least look at and think, wow, she's a smoke show. This other one, man, looks like a train wreck.
I'm trying to think of who my third cousin is and if she's hot.
Your third cousin?
Yeah.
I don't even know. I couldn't.
I don't
even
know.
tell
I can't go back that far. I would think a third cousin wouldn't be that bad. Okay.
By looks, or what do you mean? I had a good looking third cousin.
No. Like if we were to mate the babies.
Yeah.
Before the year 1540, the practice of marrying first cousins was banned in England. However, King Henry VIII amended this doctrine in 1540 and allowed marrying. Basically, he had a hot first cousin.
That's what I'm thinking. Is he the one that cut his wife's heads off?
I don't know. Why would you want to sign up for that anyway? They had bad jaw deformities. The jaw would protrude forward. Teeth would not align. That's probably where everybody in England got bad teeth, was in the 1500s.
From banging their cousin.
Banging their cousin. If you'd have just fucking got outside your village and found somebody else. But we had a guy here last week, and he said that he's a fisherman in the Amazon. And he said inbreeding down there is a major problem because people are so localized and they never get out of their respective village. Like, inbreeding is a problem.
Yeah, they had to go to the other villages to get the wives and stuff. At least they were smart enough to get away. Speaking of people with jacked up jaws and teeth, have you seen C.D. Lamb talk ever?
No.
He's got an extra set of teeth in his mouth or something.
Really?
Oh, he's a country boy from Opelousas, Louisiana, and when you listen to him talk, he has got country all over his ass.
The gene can lead to hemophilia. I did not know that. So if you're hemophiliac, good chance your ancestors were doing something they weren't supposed to be doing.
You just pissed off everybody that's got someone's hemophiliac.
Jeff, it says it right there. It
says the genes can lead. It doesn't mean just because you're a hemophiliac, your sisters were cousins.
They're trying not to offend people like I just did. You might be surprised to learn that these two individuals, so this is Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. I wonder if he has dick pierced. 9 children throughout their marriage. Unfortunately, Queen Victoria carried the hemophilia gene. So they were all hemophiliacs. All right, let's get down to the nitty gritty here. It says, when did they stop inbreeding?
Last week.
Yeah, now that she's dead.
Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip.
I mean, really, it's still going on. If you look at it, they carry the same. Third cousins have an average of 78% shared DNA. Anyway, have you seen the Whitaker family in West Virginia? They're considered the most inbred family in America.
No, but you were talking about it in the office the other day, that guy.
Oh my goodness, Ray, one of the.
You know him by first name basis.
Yeah,
huh?
Ray. Ray only barks. Only barks.
I think Tony took his daughter to the prom.
He only barks, and so they're in like a holler in West Virginia.
A holler.
And their neighbors. That's the Whitaker family.
Oh my God,
that's Ray.
I figured that was Ray right there.
Ray only barks.
Pull him up. I got to listen to him talk for a second or something.
I think
so someone's making money off these inbred fuckers, right?
He gave them the guy ended up giving them a bunch of money.
What has he got? 31 million views on that?
Everybody loves the Whitakers.
31 million views.
It's probably gonna be loud.
Some of my boys from Filson.
Yeah.
Boy, I got their new shirts coming out. Boy, they're great.
So this guy first tried to go to the Whitaker family, and he was meted with a shotgun by an angry neighbor. Apparently, people will go there and like make fun of him. So
how was that at?
I'm sorry. What's his? His name's Ray. Ray. I remember Ray.
There's Ray.
Do you remember? Years ago. And your name is? Lorraine. And Timmy.
There's Timmy.
Now, you guys grew up here in Odd, West Virginia. How many years have you lived here?
So Falks knows where that is. He drives right by it.
You're
Ray comes out. There's Ray. Could you imagine having a flat tire in West Virginia
you lost your other brother.
and then they come to help you?
I don't know how much help you'd get.
Look at old Ray just fucking molesting that sandwich.
So you lost your brother?
We didn't lose him. He died.
Ray's brother? Ray and Tim's brother? Oh, Tim's a nephew. But there's one of the brothers that's missing now. That's what I'm saying. Who was that? Freddie, that's right. Freddie's gone. How long ago did he die? 4 years. How did he die?
He quit breathing.
But I mean, my goodness.
Well, that's white privilege.
There's the
They're
sisters.
just dripping in it.
Woo. Ray's barking and grunting in the background. That's all he does. That's how he communicates. I mean,
I'm not gonna lie. I would
That's scary.
I would talk to these people for hours.
no.
Oh, I
I'd be
would.
scared to death.
Yeah, I know
Have
you
ever
would be.
seen
I
the-
wouldn't.
Have you ever seen The Hills have?
Freddie, do you remember him? Do you miss him? Do you miss your brother?
Jesus. That's the Whitaker family. That's the royal family in America. Right there. The Whitakers. That's scary though. That's scary. Look at it. I mean,
there's a lot of people just like that, and that, or not lots, but those areas. They say the Appalachians full of that shit.
my goodness. Yeah, the hills have eyes. It's all just inbred people. That would be.
Wow,
That
what
would be-
what a world we live in.
But Falks drives right past there. It's off the interstate a little bit, but yeah, he goes right past it. Says he knows right where that's at. But it says, do not, under any circumstances, go see the Whitakers because neighbors are very, very protective of them. So
Wonder why.
because people make fun of them, I think. Call them names and shit. Call them a bunch of inbred hillbillies.
Well, they are.
Well, if they'd have just been born in England, they could have been the royal family. They were that close.
What a world we live in. That in this,
They were
in
that close.
2020s that we have stuff like that going on. That is just crazy, absolutely nuts. But you know what? They don't have the victim mentality.
Well, Jeff, they're banging their sisters and brothers, like,
And having kids,
and having a lot of kids.
that is nuts. Gosh,
They don't think of themselves as victims.
no. But that's at least they got that going for them.
One guy barks. You think he even knows what a victim is? That's all he does.
Motherfucker might be a genius.
I doubt it. You saw the way he was eating that sandwich.
Did
Not many geniuses eat with their mouth open.
Did you see where the guy in Memphis went live and shot all those people?
I did see that. I hadn't seen the video, but I saw.
I
the
didn't watch the
headline.
video. I don't want to watch that stuff. I just can't imagine these people. And it's on this drug stuff. And then I did see in Wichita Falls where they arrested 3 people and charged them with murder for for selling someone Percocet that had fentanyl in it and it overdosed and killed them.
Yeesh.
Charged them with murder, and they should do that.
Did they know that there was fentanyl in it?
The guy's selling it that way on purpose.
Okay, well
Was
then he
selling
should
it
go
as
to
a
jail.
fake Percocet.
Oh,
Well, here's the deal. If you buy fentanyl from somebody and you die of overdose, you're a dumb fuck for doing that. No difference than if you buy meth, heroin,
should
whatever
their
it is.
family be able to sue for reparations?
No.
You don't think so? Well, you
Reparations?
just said that these people got charged. Should the family be able to sue?
Why? So anytime there's a murder, you should be able to charge the family member? I mean, you should be able to sue.
No.
So if
The drug dealer.
hold on.
Is the drug dealer liable
He ain't
for
got no
selling
fucking money. He's going to go to prison the rest of his life.
for selling a bad product?
It's not a corporation.
Well,
He's a drug
maybe
dealer.
we should legalize
Let
this,
me-
and then it would be incorporated, and then we can
Okay.
sue. Let's sue everybody.
Okay, well, that's fucking the world we live in. But
Do
if you decide you get pissed off and you're going to shoot your neighbor and kill him,
Uh-huh.
can their neighbor go sue you because you shot him? No. His family? No.
You don't think so?
Fuck no. It's no.
Damages?
You're dead.
What's the price of a life, Jeff?
I just don't. Negligence I don't know that. That's actually I never even thought of that before. Yeah, I guess if you was a wealthy person, they could probably sue you for the loss of. I don't know how that works. That's really pretty interesting, to be honest with you.
And you just tried to.
Well, I don't think you
wave me
can
away.
sue someone over a drug dealer selling another druggy bad drugs.
But it kills them.
Well, shouldn't have done drugs.
I agree. But
That's the deal with drugs. When you're buying drugs off the street, anytime you buy something, marijuana, we're going to bring up marijuana because it seems like lately all we do is talk about drugs on this show.
that's all we do.
If you buy pot, can you still call it pot? Or do you have to call it weed now or cannabis? What's the word?
Call it whatever you want to call
The
it.
devil's lettuce?
Sure.
If you buy cannabis off someone on the street, you never know if someone sprayed that shit with Roundup or whatever it is that's going to fry your fucking brain.
That's true.
And you're going to smoke it. So anytime you do that, you're taking a chance. When you buy hydrocodone or you go to a pharmacy to get hydrocodone, there's a 99.9999% chance you're getting hydrocodone that's exactly what it's supposed to be like. But if you're buying hydrocodone off the street off somebody else, you're taking a chance. Don't tell them what the fuck you're getting. And especially meth. It's made in a freaking alley somewhere or in the back of a bathtub under an abandoned trailer. You're taking a big ass chance anytime you take that shit that you're actually getting something good. And I just can't imagine taking the chances those people take doing that. You know, and so
People do every day.
I know, and I just don't get it. You know, and I'm not a druggie, so I just don't understand.
Here's the video. The servant must clear my desk.
Yeah, what a dumbass. I mean, but that's their mentality, and these people,
Everybody's beneath them.
and the people in England they adore this shit, and I don't get it.
Look at that. Just hand waving it away. Motherfucker, you scooted over.
Oh, they would never say that.
Who died and made you king?
Yeah, no shit. I love.
Is that his wife back there?
No, it's probably some other valet or servant. I don't think that may be her. Does she look like hammered shit? If it is, it's probably.
Well, I mean, he's no prize.
Queen
other than
Camilla or Prince Camilla or Princess Camilla, whatever the hell she is.
being the king.
I
can't believe they let a black person in the family. That's very 2020 of them.
I don't think they were all real happy about that either.
No, I don't think they were either.
Now
I'm surprised she's there, to be honest with you, Meghan Markle. I figured she would boycott it.
Is she going to be the queen now if something happens?
It goes the older brother. So Middleton.
William?
Yeah, William and Kate Middleton will be king and queen when this decrepit bastard kicks the bucket.
Well, with their genetics, he
So
may
who-
live to be 140.
I don't know much about the royal family. It was her dad that passed away that gave her the crown.
Yeah, now, and I'm going to go strictly off the Crown because I don't read up on the English shit, but I watched the Crown. From what I remember is her dad was king, and when her dad died, her uncle became king.
I'm starting to.
But
remember.
he married a girl that he married an
He married-
American girl that had been divorced,
Right.
and she wasn't a royal family.
I remember
And
that.
he was also a Nazi sympathizer. He had been to Nazi Germany and had dinner and lunch with Hitler, like in the 30s when Hitler was just coming and taking over Germany, and that was really frowned upon. But he resigned his crown as king. He didn't go. He wasn't a Nazi sympathizer until after he wasn't king. She was queen already, and he stepped down, and she became queen at like 21 years of age.
Yeah, she was real young.
And but I'm gonna tell you what. There's some parts about her and their family that I really like. I like that they hunted.
Mm-hmm.
She was a big hunter. She would ride a horse and walk in the Highlands of Scotland and hunt stag and fed. I mean, she was a big bird hunter and all kinds of stuff. There's some things about him that were pretty cool and pretty interesting. And she liked the outdoors. She actually was in love with her stable guy that raised her horses.
Oh,
And he was dicking around with everybody in the world anyways.
Charles.
No, not that goofy fucker. They were ashamed of his ass.
The royal family was?
Oh yeah, they sent him off to some school, and he was the big pussy of the school, basically.
But I thought, correct me if I'm wrong, but was this not an arranged marriage?
him and Princess Di.
That's right. That's her son. I'm getting shit confused.
No, she
Okay.
she was married. He was a he was German, and his dad was,
Who was?
Prince
Philip.
Philip was a German guy, and he was an evil fucker.
And a cousin.
And a third cousin of hers, but he was part of the German aristocracy, I believe, or Sweden, somewhere. And his parents got killed in a plane crash when he was going to some private school. And somehow he met Queen Elizabeth, and she was not a looker, but she had a sister that was pretty hot. Princess Margaret. Margaret liked to have a good time. Margaret never met a Scotch or a penis she didn't like, I don't think.
Huh.
And she was even on, she went to the royal family. She went to D.C. and hung out in the White House. I ain't so sure that JFK didn't bang her socks off.
So if I'm trying to figure this out. Had she died before Philip, would it have gone to Philip?
No, he would have never been queen.
He never would have been king.
I mean, king, I'm
no
sorry.
matter what. So it's only going to stay in her bloodline.
Yeah, I don't know how all that works, but yes. And so she passes it down.
She passes it down to Charles. Charles will pass it down to him.
Yes.
And then he'll pass it down
to his kids.
To his kids. So Kate Middleton will technically be queen, but she won't have any power.
No,
like
if
Elizabeth
he died.
did.
No. And I don't know how all that fucking shit works either, but no, I don't. I think you're right. But Prince Elizabeth or Queen Elizabeth, her dad was king, but when he died, his brother became king. And then when his brother stepped down from the crown, she became, because he only had 2 daughters.
I'm telling you, in 1959, she's not bad looking, and knowing that she's a queen, like that adds some points to her.
Yeah, she would have been she's a 7,
Oh,
6 or 7, but as queen, she's a 9.9.
She's a 6, but she's a 9 there.
It's kind of like being Tom Brady. If him and his old lady get a divorce,
her next husband is
how the fuck do you compare to that shit? You know,
dead in the water. So one thing I did not know, I mean, I've never really thought about it. That's their house.
Which one?
Buckingham Palace
is owned by the royal family.
Yes.
And
that is all that. That is not. I
think Bedminster or something, or one of these places is her. And Bedminster's maybe the place Trump has too.
I just kind of thought that it would be the country's.
No.
Their place.
They get a percent. They get money every year by the government. The English government
gives 58 million.
Who's that go to?
The royal family
Gets 58 million.
That was one thing that I saw.
All right, she lived in Balmoral Castle, is where she died at, and that was another one of their. They have property all over. I mean, you can go to probably Jamaica. They probably still have stuff there. I know Bermuda is.
Yeah. She has a net worth of 442. I know they get money.
She was worth $440 million, so she is probably equivalent to a, I'm trying to think of someone in America that we could probably relate to. $400 million. She's worth about the same amount of money as that. What's Marshall Mathers' name? Eminem?
Yeah, yes.
She's probably got as much money as he's got. Ain't that funny to think of that?
What?
That Marshall Mathers has as much money as the Queen.
The British family.
She's worth $440 million, but she gets $58 million a year. You said.
Hold on, I'm going to verify that. Where's my dollar sign?
Now, people that say, and you got to look at it 2 ways. Think, well, that's a lot of money. How much money did they give up to? I don't understand why they gave up their running it.
I can't find anything. I'm not going to be able to find anything that fast. What does that say? That's $107 million.
Is what she's worth?
No.
Is what they get a year? No way.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to look at some shit.
I know that like each nearly 100 million. The sovereign grant is what it's called.
But I don't know what that is. I don't know enough about the royal family.
Well, they also each, if you remember the royal family, you were in charge, and this is going to be going from me watching a show like Downton Abbey. I don't know how historically correct any of these shows are, but each town or each area had kind of like a lord.
Yeah,
and he got
like Game of Thrones.
Well, I haven't watched Game of Thrones.
Oh, you need to.
But everybody got each lord or whatever it was, and it's probably was. Game of Thrones is what, set in the 1600s?
No, it's a mythical place. Well, I mean, I guess
time-wise.
Medieval times.
So 1500s?
Yeah.
Okay, it's probably the same thing. They just were, by the time the 17 and 1800s, it was more modernized. But the Lord had an area, like he was a county, like a county judge or a governor of an area, and he got a percentage of the tax base off everyone else. But then he shared what he made and gave it to the king. And if he didn't do good, the king would chop his head off, basically. So I'm assuming the royal family still gets that money, but I wonder how a family like the Prince of Wales, which is Prince Charles, how many different places over there have lords or whatever they're called? How much money do they get a year? Does the British government paying all these people money every year?
Yeah, I don't know.
I never really thought we would talk that much about this, or I would have done more research.
Well, me too. But now I'm trying to find.
Now you're converting pounds to dollars.
Yes, because it says that. Okay, this is what I think. This is what I had heard. They cost the British taxpayer 102.4 million pounds a year.
I think that's probably equivalent to about $120 maybe 120 million. I think theirs is a little behind us.
That's just what they count. That's just what they cost the British to exist.
Yeah, 17% increase from the following year, which is cheaper than. I mean, fuck, that's better than deal. We got a Ukraine we're paying for, so they're just paying family a little bit of money. We're paying billions of dollars a year to fucking Ukraine, so good for them.
But that's the thing, and that's kind of the way Game of Thrones is set up. So if you hadn't seen Game of Thrones, you ought to. But there's a king. He had a son. King dies. Son gets it. Mother, who is also into incest, she's just kind of the son's, who is actually the king now. She's his mouthpiece, basically. Very good show. Very good.
They have. I don't understand all the English, the pomp and circumstance they have with it. Some of it's really stupid. Some of it's pretty interesting. But when I watch The Crown, and I really highly recommend, if you like history, to watch The Crown on Netflix. If you don't like history, you're not going to get anything out of it. But if you watch it, you watch the modernization of how they went from the pomp and circumstance from 1935 and 1940 to 1960s, when they had TV at first, and the Queen and them all watching TV together, and the little things that we take for granted was new at that time, and how the royal family had to adjust to some of that.
Now, did she like Churchill? Were they good with one another, or was that a little?
She liked Churchill more than she liked Margaret Thatcher. She hated Margaret Thatcher. Margaret Thatcher would be about like having Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher probably were a lot alike in some ways, and I know someone's going to grill me on this, but she was a pretty proud conservative, and she was a working lady, and she still cooked dinner for her husband every night, even when she was the most powerful woman in England.
Really? And
her and the Queen butted heads. But I don't understand that the prime minister has the say-so over all of it.
What? So she's just kind of the figurehead? Because I mean, she doesn't really have any. Does she have jurisdiction to strike down laws anymore?
No, I don't think so. She just has they're the Kennedy family of England, basically, when the Kennedys were still, you know, except the Kennedys had some pull because one of them was president and the senator. They're just rich. Just a rich family that all these people go gaga over, that still lives like it's 19 or 1600 sometimes.
Evidently, there's a bunch of rules surrounding her death. Like I've seen videos of Harry and Meghan, and like she's obviously not. She hadn't been brought up in it, but like he's been. Like I guess William and his wife get to see the body first, and he's pulling Meghan back because she's just walking with him, or she's just being a bitch. I don't know.
They have all kinds of rules, and the Queen Mother was still around when she was still queen, when she became queen. Now you imagine you being a daughter, and your mom was the queen, and your dad dies, and your mom is no longer the queen. They just call her the Queen Mother. And so she was in charge. She made decisions on their Queen Mother. She also told her sister who she could date and who she couldn't date.
Really?
Yeah, it was a Princess Margaret, or Princess Anne, Princess Margaret, I believe, and her sister. They butted heads all the times over little things.
Prince Charles gets $31 million a year, estimated annual income.
Yeah. But he has to wear some fucking goofy suit like that. So.
Fucking sign me up for $30 million. I'll do it for half. I'll do it for 15. I'll wear that every day in the goose blind. Every single day I'll wear something like that.
Camellia
for
looks
15 million.
Camellia looks about as worthless as Jill Biden sitting over there. You know,
those poor people, they only get $3 million a year.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. If you're in the royal family, you're going to get you're going to get shit, and I don't understand how it all works. That's their system, and for some reason they go along with it, and I don't get it. Now, going down, that's Prince Andrew below that, right? No, going down right there. That's the one that's buddies with Epstein, or was. He was in the middle of all that shit too.
He only gets $300,000 a year, but he's got a $41 million net worth.
Yeah.
So go figure. Go put pen to paper on that. See how that happens.
In 2017, the royal family is worth an estimated $88 billion by Forbes.
Where do you see that at?
Right there on the bottom. It says, as of 2017, the
okay.
British royal family is worth an estimated $88 billion. So that means they're worth almost as much as Elon Musk.
It's a lot of coin.
Mm-hmm. Did you see now where India is fighting to get the crown jewel back? There's some kind of diamond.
India?
Yeah, there's some kind of diamond that's in some kind of crown that she wears, a big diamond, and supposedly it come out of India. Well, Iraq or Iran is saying it come from them, and somebody else is. But when it was under a what do they call it? When they colonization,
Yeah,
it was part of their colony, and they said that it belongs to the royal family because they owned it at that time. Well, now they want it back for history, but it's worth $100 or $200 million. Just one uncut big diamond jewel, and it's in this purple crown that she's worn before. I've seen the crown before. But anyways, the royal, what do they call that? The royal jewels,
crown jewels.
the crown jewels. There's no telling how much money the crown jewels are worth. Probably in the hundreds of millions of dollars.
Crown jewels. I don't know.
There's that
Is that
purple
it?
one. See it right down on the bottom? Yeah, right there. And that's got some kind of big ass diamond or something in it.
Well, I mean, if you talk to Tony, this is Illuminati type stuff here.
Tony's right there. We can bring him in here and we can talk Illuminati.
That's the crown jewels?
Yeah, I believe so.
You figure if it's worth that much money, like it'd be a better looking hat.
I agree. But anyways, that big one in the front right there is the one that on the bottom right there in the front. That big one right
gold,
there.
the green one?
I think that's it. One of them is some diamond that comes from India or somewhere that they're wanting back. You know, here it is. We don't say shit, but as soon as that bitch dies, we want that fucker back now. We've been telling her we want that
held
back.
it long enough.
Yeah. I might have some bub over there and break some thumbs, or Guido, bring me my shit.
You've held
That's
it long enough.
Yeah.
White crown jewel is trending in India after Queen Elizabeth.
Yep. They want that fucker back. Can you imagine all the wealth that has been stolen over the world over all these years and wars, 105 carat, and all this shit, and it's just they want to change it. Everybody wants to give everything back. You know, your people should have been better fighters.
What do you mean? But they're talking people into giving it back. Like I would bet money that that's going to be a big deal because a lot of people are already saying that they need to give this shit back. So I
don't think they should.
They guilt people into doing it, and people are dumb enough to do it.
Bingo. But they shouldn't give it back. It's just like South Dakota. You know? And I don't know nothing about South Dakota history. I mean, I know a kind of a rough deal of it, but I don't know a lot about it. But who would we give South Dakota back to if they said that we ought to give all our land back to the Indians? Who would you give South Dakota back to? Would you give it to the Lakota tribe? Would you give it to the Sioux? Would you give it to the Crow, the Blackfeet? I mean, who? They fought over it all the time too.
I would give it to the Sioux.
Why?
Well,
you have no idea.
Well, there's a city, Sioux City.
Right. But I mean,
works for me.
But they fought back and forth for thousands of years before white man was even here. So who does it rightfully belong to? You know?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. You should have been better at what you did. Your ancestors should have been better fighters. You know? That's just part of life, you know? We're going to dissolve the United States and send me back to Italy?
They might.
You know? Where do you go?
I would go to Scotland.
Okay.
I just go to Edinburgh, my home country.
Your home country. And you just think you would just fit right in there.
I
and
would fit right in with those people.
And you know what those people at Edinburgh would say?
Go to the pub.
Get your ass back to America. Your people fucking left. They didn't like it here.
Well, I didn't want. I was tired of paying shit to this corrupt fucking family. Okay, so this is about the reparations. This country mourn.
So
'Cause I guess
people in Jamaica think they should be getting checks now from good deal. Let some other country start paying some fucking reparations and shit.
That's right.
That is that there's not an end to this.
No.
If you ever start, you're screwing up. First of all, nobody in this world that's alive today in the United States of America was owned by a slave owner. None of them. And nobody alive today ever owned a slave. We owe you nothing at all. Nobody. We don't owe you a fucking dime. If you want a dime, get a job. It's the best way to do it. That's how the people that owned slaves got ahead, is they had jobs. Now, what they did was wrong, but there was a very small percentage of people in this country that ever owned a slave. They act like every white person owned a slave, and we didn't. First of all, my family came from Italy. I have not heard of any slave trade going to Italy. I'm sure there probably was, because it was close to the Middle East, and probably some Muslims got pulled over there as slaves, but none that I know of. My family was poor, so we never had a slave. Probably some of my family was slaves at one time. That's how poor we were.
Sent condolences to the family and noted Charles's acknowledgement of the appalling atrocity of slavery at a ceremony last year, marking the end of British rule as Barbados became a republic. I'm gonna kill this fly. More than 10 million Africans were shackled into the Atlantic slave trade by European nations between the 15th and 19th century. They were brought to the Caribbean and the Americas.
Okay.
So,
who sold them as slaves?
the Africans.
Okay. Why then aren't they being persecuted?
Well, I think they're saying that they funded this whole enterprise.
Then slavery is horrible. Is the worst, one of the two biggest atrocities in the world. The Holocaust and slavery. Would we agree on that?
Yeah.
Two worst things in history. You can't change it. Is Germany going to pay money to all the Jewish people in the world?
No, they're not going to do that.
And they shouldn't. What happened happened. It was wrong. But you can't change history. We don't owe anybody anything for slavery. We never owned a slave. It's horrible. I couldn't have owned a slave. I mean, it's wrong. I wouldn't now. But back then, you don't know. It's a different world back then. It's like we need to throw away all the history of all the presidents because they owned slaves. That you can't change what's normal. Right now, we're Christians. 1,000 years from now, being a Christian may get you persecuted and shot or canceled.
It does in a lot of places.
That's right. So you can only live in the time you're living and only live during that time and be a part of that time, if that makes any sense. That's about a Kamala Harris type deal. But you can't change history. Germany doesn't owe the Jews a dime. And America and England don't owe anybody a dime over slavery. Now, maybe we've got some rich person guilt because that seems to happen a lot. Prince Charles has got that rich guilt. Well, you know what? There's an easy solution. Give all your shit away. I bet he's not willing to do that.
Mm-mm. So it acts like all the this is St. Lucia. They want their own. They want to be a republic. Jamaicans favor removing the British monarchy as a head of state.
Well, good. That's a good start for him. Give it all your shit away like your mom did.
So
you think about when she took over as queen.
But I guess they gave away Barbados. Barbados is its own republic.
I don't know much about the British history. I don't. I know it's probably it's better than the French history because they did fight for themselves. But I don't know how all that went down. But I know when Queen Elizabeth took over, they owned 2/3 of the globe was under her monarchy.
Right.
When they would go to India, India was part of their monarchy. Canada.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of North Africa was.
Everything except for, it looks like even right there, a little bit of America.
What is this showing right here?
Well, that's just 13 colonies, I guess.
That's at one time.
Countries where English Oh, that's what?
That's England. People speak English. Primary language English.
What am I looking at? Oh, what the fuck? Jesus. I'm having a rough day. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
But anyways,
So she's dead.
They control 2/3 of this. She's
We're going to
dead.
move on.
Long live the king now, that goofy fucker.
Yep. Wish they'd bring back Princess Di. They were ashamed of her, too.
Yeah.
She probably knew about Epstein.
You think they had her killed?
Yes.
I do too.
Well, they said the flash bulbs from the paparazzi, they had a car accident? No.
It's about like Benghazi, and they say that Benghazi was just someone mad over a YouTube video. Well, if you watch 13 Hours, you know that's not true.
Not true at all. Boy, the Cowboys are...
Before we get into that, I want to talk about something else. Did you see, and I never thought I'd see the day that the Democrats start eating their own. Did you see where the lady that's running for Senate in South Carolina, the black lady, called white people pieces of shit?
No.
Oh, yeah. Look it up. She, I can't remember exactly. I don't want to say exactly what she said, but she said we were pieces of shit. Anyways, the Democratic congressman is probably what you need. Democratic senator hates white people or some shit will be on there. Anyways, they come out and said that, yeah, right there, to withdraw over anti-white comments. That's the South. They know they in a fair election they don't have a chance. I can't even say that word. I'll get in trouble again.
No, this was like a...
this is a true deal. She's running for state senator against Tim Scott.
Hidden camera type deal. Of course. God damn it. I hate ads. Here we go. Democrat Senate candidate attacks white voters saying you got to treat them like shit. So she didn't call them pieces of shit. She says you got to treat them like shit. Crystal Matthews is running for Senate. We can just hear her own words right here. It sounds like they're in a fucking tin can. We're not going to listen to that. That sounds awful.
Anyway, she tells you got to treat them like shit. Now they want her to step down. By God, she ain't going to step down.
Says, I'm no stranger to white people. I'm from a mostly white town, and let me tell you one thing. You ought to know who you're dealing with. Like, you got to treat them like shit. Like, I mean, that's the only way they respect you. Okay.
Well, the Democratic Party's not real happy in South Carolina because now it looks like Tim Scott which he's a pretty good guy anyways, he's going to get reelected pretty easy.
Yeah.
So, now, another thing that's really interesting. The black mayor of New Orleans paid $30,000 to fly to Sweden and to France for official New Orleans business. Now, why New Orleans has official business in Sweden and France, I have no idea. So anyways, they have a law in New Orleans that you can only fly, if you're flying on city business, you can only fly at a reasonable and normal price flight and fly coach or business class. You can't fly first class.
Okay.
So they want her to reimburse the money.
Okay.
She says, no, I ain't fucking reimburse the money because this is her reason. It's unsafe for black females to fly right now, and that's the only way she can fly. If that's fucking unsafe, don't get on a damn airplane.
What does that even mean?
I have no idea.
What's happening to black people on airplanes?
It scares me because on a flight I was on this year, the people in front of me were two black ladies. I did not realize I was in danger by sitting by them.
Right.
Because something obviously was about to happen to them.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing. It's a bunch of bullshit. She's flying above her means, using the city of New Orleans to pay for all her fucking money. And it's bullshit, and it happens all and over again. And it's not just Democrats, Republican politicians screw us all the time too.
They all do. And we get screwed from every side.
Every angle of it, and they just try to make you forget
We left England and fought for our own shit so we wouldn't have to do this, and then we pay different people now.
When do you think the IRS come about? When do you think we started paying income tax?
After the Depression in the 40s.
I think it was before that. I think we started paying in like 1880s maybe.
Pay what? Income tax?
Income tax.
So here's something I wondered. I'll ask later. 1861.
Okay. We ought to do away with it.
Get rid of income tax?
Yes. Go straight to a flat sales tax. The more you make, the more you spend. Mm-hmm. If you want to make $10 million a year and you want to live like you're fucking homeless and not spend no money, that's your business. But we got to stop taxing people for being successful or for making money and start taxing them on what they buy. Rich people buy shit, and you shouldn't have a tax break if you buy a private jet. If you buy a private jet for $60 million and the flat sales tax is 10% on everything you do, then you should pay $6 million in tax on that. And that'd be it.
So we needed help funding the Civil War, so they created the income tax.
Oh.
But I had heard, so one thing that rich people do, and I'm not rich, so I don't know this, but they don't have a lot of money in the bank. They have assets.
Yes.
And the assets are not taxable. You pay a one-time tax once you buy it, but the money that this, like an apartment complex.
That's not true completely, because they tax the shit out of you now, and property tax goes up and up and all the time.
Well, now that is true, but you're not paying. It's not part of your income. Grant Cardone explained all this to me.
So if you own an apartment complex, and let's say you got 10 units, and you're getting, just for shits and grins, we're going to make it simple, $1,000 a month income you get in.
Okay.
So you're making $10,000 a month income. Now, you have maintenance, you got to pay somebody to watch it, and so there's some cost there. So people write off all their fucking costs where they don't ever pay a dime on that property. Even though they're bringing in $10,000 a month, they're basically paying someone enough money to take care of it. They're only making 20% of that, so they don't have to count that as their income.
I guess.
Is that right? But why should you have to pay taxes on stuff when? Well, there's two different sides of that. I think we ought to have a flat sales tax. I don't think you should. I don't think we should get taxed on property taxes like we do either. You buy something, you pay the tax to build the damn thing and everything. You get it built, and then they tax you every month for having a nice place, or every year. We have overtaxed, and we get nothing out of our money anymore at all. I mean, we get roads to drive on. I don't have a problem.
There's a way not to pay. I never pay.
You're constantly basically flipping your money into other real estate.
Yeah, exactly. So I never have the money, right? I can never actually touch the money in a real estate transaction. If you touch any of the money, then it's going to get taxed. So what I would do is I would just trade into another deal. I'm not avoiding the IRS. I'm just deferring till the future so that I can get my money to work. They don't teach you this in college. The value of the property, the equity of the property, it went from 350 grand, 3 million, 9 million, to 12 million. I can't spend any of it. This equity is growing. It's paying me every month in passive income. So let's say it was 10% or 8%, whatever the number is. It goes from 350 to 3 million to $12 million. I can actually receive less money every month, and my income's going up.
With all these real estate deals.
I don't know. I don't understand anything that he said, though.
He said if you take that money starts out at $350,000 and you're getting 10% of it, then you're getting $35,000 a month. If it gets to $3 million and you're only getting 5%,
But are you not paying Are you not paying taxes on that money that you're getting from your property?
I'm guessing not by what he said. From what he said, though, the more money he makes, he takes a less percent, but he's making more money. Like if you're getting 6% of $9 million, that's better than getting 10% of $3 million.
Here's another short. I love the shorts. All about the shorts now.
Do not pay taxes. Elon Musk said, how do you guys want me to pay taxes? I don't make any money. I'm not an earner. I'm an investor. The only way for me to pay taxes is to sell stock. You have to become an investor in 2026. One of your goals should be, I invest more money this year than I actually made last year. Imagine how big that change would be. How much money did you invest this year?
Close to $1 million.
11 years ago, he didn't see how he would ever make $1 million in a year. This year, he invested $1 million. He's probably spending 500 grand a year, and he invested double that. The moment you go from spender to investor, you will reduce your tax bill.
You know how much tax I would pay on that 2.4 million?
Zero. Why? Because he's a hero.
So I guess they're saying if you invest your money and I don't know how that all works because you've got to somehow make money to be able to invest it.
Okay, that goes right back to what I was saying a minute ago. But when he buys shit, he would have to pay tax on it.
Right.
Do away with all the
So
income
he's not
tax.
paying. So they're avoiding paying taxes.
Yeah, smart. They're
They're using this just like Trump did. Everybody bashed Trump when he was running in 2016. He used the tax code to his advantage.
The same system that the politicians that complain about him.
They made it.
They made it. But take that money and just tax for anything he buys. You buy an apartment complex for $30 million, you pay 10%. You pay $3 million on it. And you should be done. If you buy something, but you just tax things that people buy. Quit giving everybody a break for being a farmer, a rancher, a church, whatever it is.
Off that way.
But no, I'm not trying to be that way because then they wouldn't have to pay an income tax. You just have to pay a tax on what you buy. Everybody should.
But farmers are having to buy tractors and shit. They're having to buy seed. Like there's certain people
and new King Ranch pickups and all kinds of shit. Every place.
There's certain professions that are going to spend way more money than they could ever make. I think farming would be one of them.
I don't understand how I love farmers. We farm. We're not very good at it. We farm.
You're gonna.
I don't understand how you should be taxed. Everybody should be taxed on a level playing field, no matter what you do.
Right.
Why should someone that farms be any different than someone that's in the shipping business?
What I'm saying is, let's compare. We'll compare farming to the hunting industry.
No, let's do something that's not related by any means.
Well,
computer business.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know anything about the computer business, but I do know that if you tax people on what they spend, a farmer is going to spend way more money than we will here at Stanfield Hunting Outfitters. I don't know what you're going to have to spend to get a computer company up and running.
I'm talking about.
I can't even relate.
But a farmer buys fertilizer,
seed, diesel, tractors, plows,
anything. Okay.
I mean, you're looking at a couple million bucks.
Let's talk a shipping company.
I don't know anything about a shipping company. I can't even throw numbers out.
Let's say a gas station.
Okay.
Okay. You have a gas station, and you buy gasoline. You got to sell. You get taxed on it. You got to pay. You buy money. You buy rags to do oil changes. You buy oil. Whatever you buy, you pay a tax on, and that should be the end of it. But that's the bottom line to the whole deal.
But I think you're going to punish more professions more so than you would, and then that wouldn't be fair. There's no clear. I'm with you. I think the tax code. I think we're paying through the nose for taxes, and we don't get anything for it. But I'm saying if it wouldn't be fair to Blake and his farming business with all the bills and shit that they have to buy.
But why are they different than any other business?
They're feeding America. They're feeding us. So, I'm not going to grow that shit.
So a guy grows cotton's feeding us.
Well, you put the clothes on my back.
I think I'm just using farmers example.
And I like the flat tax.
I think anything should be taxed equally. I don't care what you sell. What about the guy who's selling fertilizer to the farmer? Should he not have to, should he get a free pass on it too?
I don't know.
See, that's the problem, but that's where we've got.
But there are loopholes that the rich are playing, that they're playing by.
All the time. And that same guy is going to say, you know what? I own property in Las Vegas, and I've got it in Los Angeles, and I've got it in New York and Miami. So you know what? I need a $50 million Gulfstream airplane to fly back and forth to check on my properties. Oh, guess what? You get to write that off your taxes. Why? That's what I'm saying. What's the difference between that jet and a tractor?
Right.
I mean, I don't know the answer to it all, but I think if we went to a flat tax and did away with the income tax, everybody pays a sales tax on the shit. But I think if you,
I don't want to pay tax on that, so I take that $1 million instead of spending it on something stupid. I buy a piece of real estate, so let's say for $5 million. So I go from $1 million to $5 million. Then I appreciate, depreciate, and amortize that $5 billion, and it offsets my $1 million in tax.
See, but
let's say I make $1 million.
These people can't relate to this. 99% of people in the country cannot relate to that because they're not in that situation. I'm talking about the average Joe who's having an average small business like we have. Mm-hmm. Instead of having to get screwed on the IRS on a bunch of shit, just make a sales tax. A simple deal. If I buy groceries from Cisco to feed all my people, I pay a 10% tax on it, and that's the end of it. The company, us, everybody, and our world would be so much simpler that way. Poor people pay less taxes than rich people because poor people buy less. I
mean, poor people don't pay taxes now anyway, really.
No, they
it's
don't.
The middle class that foots all the bill.
Yes, and I would rather pay a 10% flat sales tax on everything I do than have to pay jack with IRS.
Was somebody gonna do away with the IRS? Was that? No, it's the CIA, I guess.
No, they've talked about it. Many politicians have.
To get rid of the IRS?
Yeah, but they don't know. That's always something they want to do. I think Trump actually talked about it one time, and I think George W. Bush wanted to make Social Security a big, you get one big bulk check. And I think that's a really good idea, too. I do. I think
Trump cut the funding, or no? Well, that's in 2017. Has been cut by 18%. Oh, so he just kind of cut the funding for it.
But I would like to see. I don't understand. We've talked about this with Social Security. I think Social Security you should be given a check, and your family should be given a check for everything.
But Jeff,
you pull in
that
your
goes
die.
against the whole reason to have Social Security. They didn't trust you with that money in the first place, or they wouldn't have kept it. So now you think they're just going to hand over all that
No,
money
they're not
that
ever
they
going to
kept?
do that, but
No,
they should.
That's because they're lying to you about what it was for.
Who's they?
The-
I know what's going on. I'm saying
It's just
I
the same
think
as
that's what they
just
should
the,
do.
The same reason that the banks tell you to keep your money with them,
Yeah,
so they can go spend it.
that's right. I'm with you on everything you said. I'm just saying, I personally think Social Security should be given to the people that paid it in. And if you pass away, the amount of money you should pay in should be given to you. If the government wants to take out 8% of your money or 5% or whatever it is for your whole life, when you turn to time to retire at 62, 66, 72, or if you die at 78 and you never take a dime, they should owe you whatever your money.
But that goes against the whole reason for having Social
Of
Security in
course.
the first place. They didn't trust you with that money because they thought you would blow it. You're going to grow old. You're not going to be able. You're going to quit earning money, and you're not going to be able to take care of yourself. And the government's going to have to. So the government, being a good steward of you, we're going to hold on to your money because we're caring and compassionate, and we're looking out for the future self of you because you weren't smart enough to do that. So why at 65 or whenever you can draw Social Security would they just say, "Oh, nope, now you're good. Here's all of your money"?
They're not going to. I'm with you.
They're not going to.
But I'm saying
what they should and what they're going to do is two different things.
and they're never going to do that.
No.
They're not good stewards of money at all, or we wouldn't be giving Ukraine all this shit.
Well,
How-
that's your Social Security money that's going over there.
Let me ask you: how can the United States, honestly, how can the U.S. be broke?
I don't know. I mean, they've got the biggest Ponzi scheme going. I don't
Not
know,
even
it's
talking
considered
about
a Ponzi
Social
scheme.
Security. I'm just talking about gasoline tax. Just
every tax
fuel
that we
tax alone.
Hotel motel tax.
Well, but gasoline. Everybody buys gas every day,
Mm-hmm.
and every day the United
Property
States is
tax.
making. But that goes to your local stuff. That's not a federal deal usually. That's local. Your schools and your states get all that. But I'm talking about just gas tax. How much money does the government make? They invest $0 in the fuel business. Zero. And everybody always bitches about Shell and Exxon and everybody. The government makes more money off freaking fuel than anybody else does.
52.31
Billion
billion
dollars.
through motor fuel tax. That was in 2019.
Okay.
Probably high.
So
Well,
we
might be
went,
lower
we went through
with
COVID
COVID.
and it come back. But let's just say it's $50 billion. Our government makes $50 billion a year doing nothing.
Just for letting people drive.
Yes, that's it. $50 billion fucking dollars.
A lot of money.
And
Well, now, I mean,
I don't even think the federal government regulates the fuel. I think they make the state do it, and the state's getting taxed on the side. So the government's not sending people out and doing inspections and shit. The state does that. Like in Texas, the Railroad Commission does it.
$3 trillion in tax revenue in 2018.
Yeah. Where is that money going to?
The Ukraine.
Yeah. But that's the kind of money that our government should never be broke.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that you would be able to run a country on $3 trillion.
You should.
Annually.
Yeah. Did you in
That's just me.
the state of New York? They had a COVID vaccine deal now. We're not allowed to talk about that, are we?
Probably not.
Okay. In New York, they did this. Well, anyways, the governor of New York signed a contract with one of her friends that cost the state double what it would have cost with the competitor.
Well, of course.
And that's the kind of shit we do. And you know what? They won't do nothing to her. Just it's okay. But by God, if me or you did something like that, they'd put us under the jail.
Insider trading.
All right, let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys.
They're fucked. Short, sweet, end of story. Till Dak gets back, they're done.
I think if we would go back over one of our podcasts, the last 12 podcasts, last 3 or 4 weeks, I said that I don't understand. I think it was during the Cowboys preseason game. I said, if the Cowboys lose Dak, they are totally screwed. And I said, I don't understand how you can go into an NFL season and not have a good backup quarterback. Not a good quarterback, not a good starting quarterback, because if he was, he'd be starting somewhere in the NFL. But there are good backup quarterbacks, and the Cowboys don't have one.
They said, Fox told me they're thinking about getting Mason Rudolph.
That he's better than Cooper Rush is, but he's not good. Fuck, he started for Pittsburgh and didn't do shit either. I mean, you see where I'm coming with this on this? This is what I'm going to suggest, and you're going to probably either laugh at me or you're going to say, that's not a bad idea. Drew Brees. I didn't like Drew Brees the last couple of years he played. I didn't think he was very good. But I would rather have a 42-year-old Drew Brees than to have a 25-year-old Cooper Rush. If you really legit think you're going to win something. And the saying is, and I've read this so many times today, is, great, we can get that kid from Alabama. Did they not watch the Texas game? That kid ain't no ready to play football in the pros. When you have 5-star linemen and you got 5-star running backs and you got 5-star wide receivers, it's pretty easy to look pretty good. He did not look good at all.
No.
And so that is not the answer. Cooper Rush is probably a better quarterback than that kid is if you had to choose to start one of them right now. So, no, that's not the answer. Another thing that really pissed me off is I'm not a Dak Prescott guy because I'm not a Cowboy guy. I think Dak's a really good dude. Those people threw trash at him when he was walking off the field.
Classless.
I'm telling you right now.
Classless.
And then I read today so many different posts about, well, he's no good. He's brittle. We got to get rid of him, blah, blah,
Broke
blah,
his
blah,
fucking
blah.
thumb.
Yeah. The guy is a fucking gamer, you know? If you haven't learned anything the last 2 or 3 years, when he don't play, y'all don't win.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've got him your fucking offensive line is horrible. Out of the 32 teams in the NFL, I'm going to say Dallas's offensive line is ranked in the bottom 6.
Dallas and Green Bay.
Both horrible. Green Bay's got 2 guys that are supposed to come back as tackles maybe, and that will help them a little bit. Dallas is not going to get any help from anybody. They signed Jason Peters. Jason Peters got cut by the Bears. If you watched the Bear game the other day, you're talking about someone stealing the game. Horrible. But
Bad.
Dallas has no line. They've got CeeDee Lamb, who's very overrated, I think. And they've got Dalton Schultz.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
I did like Dalton Schultz last night. He looked good.
But that's it. That's all they got.
Zeke had a little bit of burst. He just couldn't get anything going.
They're not going to be able to run the ball with that line. And then they lost that McGovern kid, one of their starters. They've got a first-round draft pick kid who led the NCAA in holding, at Tulsa. Mm-hmm. He's not playing against the best defensive end in football every weekend, or the best player, the best athlete on every team plays defensive end just about. He's going to play against that every week. They've got a kid that was a free agent from Texas Tech, that Steele kid. He's decent. They don't have a guy on their team other than their center that's worth a shit.
Right.
There's no NFL team. If you waived everybody on the Dallas's offensive line other than that Martin kid, and nobody's going to pick one of them up to start for their team, I don't think.
Von Miller was pissed that Micah Parsons got chipped. Said that the NFL should get rid of that block. Totally get rid of it.
That fucking he didn't get chipped. He got hit right in the fucking chest.
They're saying
Did you see it?
Oh, yeah, I saw it.
He got rolled up like a booger.
Very well, I saw it.
I don't think it was a chip.
It's a chip block.
Well, it hit him in the chest, though. Why is that an illegal block?
We're gonna read and we're gonna see what the guy says. He did mollywop him though. Now go watch tape and see what it is. Hit 1-on-1. Stop hyping that weak shit is football. This block must be taken out of the game. This is the future, and we are just letting the offense tee off on our marquee pass rushers. You can get the job done without this much contact. I don't get that.
What a fucking liberal. Show the video of it.
Oh, give me a break.
It was a clean freaking. I watched it. I saw it.
But, I mean, he's kind of engaged with the left tackle.
But he hit him in the shoulder. He didn't chop his legs.
He chipped him.
Okay, maybe it would be a chip. But it wasn't like a cut a leg or nothing. It was in his shoulder.
No.
That's football.
But I think Von Miller is pissed off that they go above and beyond to protect the quarterback, which I am too. It's getting ridiculous. You can't hit him in the head. You can't hit him low.
I'm not disagreeing with you on any of that.
So I think he's looking at it from he feels like he's just an expendable pawn in the game of football. That there's no rule in place to prolong their career.
I have no problem at all if he would have taken out his legs and said below the block waist. I'd have said, you're right. I agree with you on that. He hit him in the fucking shoulder blade. And LeGarrette Blount, who's a real total shithead, I agree with him on this too. You can't block guys like T.J. Watt and Khalil Mack and Von Miller one-on-one. You got a guy running backwards that weighs 325 pounds, and you got a guy who weighs 270 and runs a 4.5 40 coming around him. Well, it's hard to do. So they get some extra guys to help block. So I don't see what the problem is on it.
I don't either. But Von Miller's, I think Von Miller, like I said, I think he just kind of feels like there are no rules in place. Everybody's making quarterbacks are playing like Brady, fucking 22 years because they don't ever get hit. But if you're on the defense, they can just tee off on you.
But I don't think he got teed off on. He got blocked. And you know what? The fucker's sitting right there. How do you not see him? It wasn't like Leonard Fournette's invisible.
Well, they said just Parsons not anything he's ever really seen.
Well,
he'll remember.
He learned.
He'll remember.
Did he have a sack after that?
I think so.
I don't think after that he did. I don't think so.
I don't even know what quarter that happened.
That happened in the third quarter because I saw it and I told Payne, I said, oof. I said, he got his clock cleaned.
They said TJ Watt tore his pec. He's out.
And it wasn't because he got chipped. I saw it too. It's because he ripped a guy's helmet off. That's what he did. He took a guy's helmet like that. And it wasn't a dirty play. It just was it's just kind of how it happened.
It's looking like I didn't get much right yesterday, but my bold prediction of the Cincinnati Bengals not making the playoffs, it might happen.
Nah, they should have won that game 3 times.
Might happen, Jeff.
3 times. Jamar Chase might be. Justin Jefferson's really good, but Jamar Chase made the best catch of the day that wasn't a catch. But I tell you what, that guy, I would not be surprised against the Dallas Cowboys next week if Jamar Chase has 15 catches for 250 yards.
It's going to be ugly.
In Dallas is not very good. I mean, they just do not have any depth at all. What gets me is all the people that are just completely off on them now. They're Dallas Cowboy for Life fans. Lasted about 3 hours, and they were done. They're not
Didn't
Dallas
even make
Cowboys.
it to the fourth quarter.
Fuck no. They were all the memes we saw last week that were so Dak eliminated. Well, now they probably are. And what's bad is the Giants.
They might not be.
They're not in a really tough division.
Right.
Detroit.
They can tread water. They'll be okay.
You don't like Detroit because you don't like their coach.
I don't dislike their coach. I just think he's a little cheesy on
His
there.
team's bought into him.
They have.
And they've got a good team.
They played well.
They played really good. They played the Eagles, a good football team, really well, too. The Eagles, I'm telling you what, Jalen Hurts with him running the ball, until he gets hurt, they're going to be dangerous because of him. Arizona, Kyler Murray is done. He don't try to run no more. He can't see over the line.
And I'll play a video about that here in a minute. Okay, here's a Cowboys schedule. They're thinking Dak could be back by this game. They have a bye the week before.
Let's just say they're back by the Packer game. Let's say that.
I don't know. Other than the Lions,
I don't think they can beat the Lions. I think they beat the Bears.
I don't know that there's a game that they can win.
Washington.
Now, I understand shit happens.
Okay, they got the Giants coming up in 2 weeks. The Giants' offensive line, Tennessee's a pretty good football team. Giants' offensive line ran the ball with Saquon a lot better, and they looked better, and they threw the ball to him. And I'm going to tell you the difference in that game was when Brian Dable went over and jumped Daniel Jones' ass. Did you see that?
He did.
And quarterbacks don't get that no more, and I think that was the best thing happened to Daniel Jones. I really do. I think him getting an ass chewing by his coach on national TV woke his ass up. The Bengals are going to beat the shit out of the Cowboys this week probably. I just don't think Dallas with Cooper Rush has got a chance. I don't give a shit if they bring Joe Montana or they bring Roger Staubach. The Cowboys are fucked.
There's 7 games
yes.
right now between now and their bye.
They're not
the
gonna
bye would make it 8 weeks that Dak would be out. I don't know. 2 and 5, you've done things very, very well.
If Dallas's defense gives up 25 points, they're going to lose, I think, right now. I just don't think they can score. They're just like they were a couple of years ago when Dak got out. They went through like Ben DiNucci and all them guys. They're in big trouble.
I would circle these 2 games as possibilities of
Dallas
winning.
has a real good chance to be 0-7.
Yeah,
they really
legitimately. Like the Giants played a lot better. The Commanders didn't look too bad yesterday with Carson Wentz. The Rams, it's all going to depend on Matt Stafford.
He does not look good.
He's not going to lay another dud.
Supposedly they were going to sign Jimmy Garoppolo before that when they thought he was going to get waived. They would not be trying to sign Jimmy Garoppolo if they thought Matt Stafford was
healthy.
healthy.
His elbow's fucked up.
Yeah, I do too.
Bad fucked up. So let's say Stafford corrects it. I mean,
Dallas can't stop that.
The way they
defense,
played Thursday night, maybe that one could be a win. They looked awful. They looked awful.
Honestly, though,
the Rams.
Do you really believe that Dallas's offensive line can keep Aaron Donald and them off the quarterback?
No.
That's what I'm saying. Dallas cannot score. They will not be able to score. Their line is horrible. absolutely trash. And so when you can't stop people from putting pressure on the quarterback, it's gonna be a long, long day. And I son of a bitch, I don't think Dallas can stop anybody from rushing the quarterback, and that's gonna be their problem all year long. I mean, you look at it again; they're gonna get the Vikings, who's damn good. They're gonna play the Giants again. Giants are fixing to get that kid back from Oregon. He'll be back in a couple of weeks. They're gonna have more of a rush. They play the Redskins at the end of the year. They're gonna have all their, if not injury related. I mean, they've got a tough. Dallas, if Dak cannot go until the 8th or 9th, Dallas might win 4, 5, or 6 games. What they're going to do is they're probably going to screw themselves where they're not a top 4 or 5 draft pick, they're going to get stupid and trade their first round pick for somebody. I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to make a big world of difference for them.
Would you set Dak down for the year if they come into the Packer game and they're 2-7?
No.
You wouldn't?
No, because I would think I could
be
win
2-6.
If I could win the last 7 games, I might be able to get squirrely and get in. Or that'd be 2, 4, 6, 8 games left. No, I would. If they're 2-6, I'd be like, 10-6 will get us in the playoffs. Let's do it.
What if you drop? So let's say you drop to the Packers and the Vikings. Now you're at 2-9.
Why would you shut him down if he's healthy?
You're 2-9 now.
But I mean, still wouldn't shut him down. Dallas don't need a quarterback. Those quarterbacks are going to go 1, 2, and 3 anyways. I mean, so if you've got the 5th draft pick or you got the 15th draft pick,
It's going to be tough. I mean, they looked shitty with Dak. They're going to be even worse without him. They looked almost as bad as my Packers. The only saving grace that I can keep telling myself about the Green Bay Packers is this is exactly how they started last year. To a T. Traveled, got the shit kicked out of them, and then Rodgers goes back to back and wins 2 MVPs. That's the only thing.
That kid dropped that first pass.
He
set
did.
the tone. If that kid catches that ball, that game's probably a whole different game. Football's such a game of emotions, but man, they could not keep and Minnesota's good.
They are. They're very good.
They have a good football team, and offensively, they're very dangerous. Listen to this. I had Dalvin Cook and Austin Eckler yesterday starting, and I think between the two of them, I got 15 points. Horrible.
I don't doubt it.
And the Chargers, what's wrong with Keenan Allen?
I don't know. I was looking at Twitter when you were talking about the Cowboys. Nothing's really broken.
What's with Mac Jones?
Back spasms.
So that's it then.
And they said Elijah Mitchell he's going to miss some time.
Well, that's a big shock.
Kyle Fuller tore his ACL for the Ravens. He's cornerback. But nobody's been traded or anything like that I could tell. Yeah, it says right here, Mac Jones believed to have suffered back spasms. X-rays were negative.
Who's the top player in fantasy to be picked up this week that wasn't on someone's team?
I don't know if there is one.
O.J. Howard?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't
2
see
touchdowns.
Oh.
Got picked up on Wednesday by the Texans.
Chris Godwin's expected to miss time with a hamstring strain. So.
Michael Thomas. What a pickup by you.
Well,
he looks like the real deal again.
I didn't even start him. So.
Well, I know that. Who would have?
I'll start him next week, and he'll go to shit.
I don't think so. He looked like the same Michael Thomas. Looked really good.
I hope.
The problem is you got Jameis Winston throwing the ball to him, and I ain't sold on Jameis Winston. Alvin Kamara, they did not use at all in that game.
No, they're saying his usage, which this would have been handy to know before I drafted him, his usage with Jameis Winston is just abysmal.
Why?
They don't use him. They don't do the short dink and dunk like Drew Brees did with him. So he didn't catch the ball, and he's basically just a running back now.
So you take off the best player, that doesn't make sense to me.
They said if you look at his numbers compared to Brees and Winston, like it's not even close. Like he's awful with Jameis Winston.
All these quarterbacks that people go and they trade up these first round picks for, and they do it all the freaking time. The kid at Chicago looks horrible. Now they played in a monsoon, so we're gonna give him that. Trey Lance looked like shit.
Yep,
both of them
played in
looked
the
horrible.
monsoon.
That's right, and so we got to give them a couple weeks. But I think these teams are going to learn in the next couple of years, quit taking these kids first and start trying to take them later and let them sit behind somebody for a year or so.
That's why I don't think the Niners will get rid of Garoppolo.
They're not going to get rid of Garoppolo.
We might need him.
Who?
The Niners.
That's why they're not going to trade him. I think he's got a no trade clause in his deal anyways.
He does.
But they're not trading him to Dallas. And I don't think he's the answer anyways. You know, you need Michael Vick at his fastest to be fucking playing behind the Dallas's line right now. But them guys need to learn behind someone else. If Patrick Mahomes can set 1 year behind Alex Smith, anybody could. That should be good medicine for anybody to learn from. You know, Mac Jones looked really good. His last 8 games last year, he looked horrible. He didn't look any good last time. Tua had to fight with Fitzpatrick and stuff. Tua looked pretty decent the other day. Mm-hmm. Did you see what Tyreek Hill said about Josh McDaniel? They went for it on fourth.
McDaniels.
Is it Mike McDaniels? Yeah, Mike McDaniels. He went for it on 4th and 7.
Balls. He's gonna need something about his balls.
He's gonna need a wheelbarrow to carry them balls around.
Right.
That guy would never look like a football coach if you didn't notice who it was.
No, he looks like a geek.
He does. He does. Did you see where your quarterback just called out Gavin Newsom?
I did. I wasn't gonna get into it, but
okay. Well, anyways, he called him out over the fluid you can put in your arm.
California's going to shit. Did you see, speaking of going to shit, did you see in Soho and Tribeca, it looked like a scene out of the Purge. I mean, just homeless people, they're graffiti and shit on the walls.
Yeah, New York's going back.
It was bad.
That's the way New York was in the 70s in a lot of places. If you look at if you'll just watch an old the guy with Charles Bronson, I can't remember his name. The movies he made, Vigilante. You can see some of them neighborhoods, and it's a movie, but that's the way a lot of them places were. Just homeless encampments everywhere, and people burning fires and violence and shit everywhere.
I'm not gonna be able to find it now.
But anyways,
them
places are shitholes, and it's gonna get worse and worse and worse as long as we keep voting one way. They're killing us.
Well, it's a slow death.
It is a very slow death, and I feel for them people.
All right, so week 2 starts. Had another fairly good week out here.
Yep, had 2 good teal hunts.
Yeah,
and we had decent dove hunting. Had a couple of really good dove hunts, a couple slower dove hunts. Had a front. We had a 25-mile north wind hit Saturday night, and I started to see more doves again. So we should have a good weekend. We shouldn't have a weather change. Should be really good.
Back to being hot.
Nobody won any swag this week because Trevor Shanahan did not beat me.
And we wonder why there's flies in here.
Yep. All the time, leaving the doors open. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for listening to us. God bless y'all. Have a great week. The interesting podcast coming up this week. We've got Sam Sohold on with us, and we've got Joe Westner on with us, and we're going to talk about the Gold Star Dove Hunt that will be here September 29th and 30th weekend, and just get into all of that and have another football pick 'em. Thank you for another record week for us last year.
Last week.
Have a great week. Bye.
Please go look at our sponsors. Go check out Ducks Unlimited, Double T British Kennels, Dirty Duck Coffee, Stanfield Hunting Outfitters, Bangtail Whiskey, Alpha Outdoor Specialties, Looking Glass Duck Club Podcast, Lucky Duck, Shin Gear Waders, Gundog Outdoors, Pacific Calls, Dive Bomb Industries, and Boss Shot Shells.